Bula, Rob Barrell here. This is a short video summary of our most recent expedition to the Phoenix Islands in Kiribati. This was Naya's 10th trip to the Phoenix Islands. The first was in 1997 in support of TIGHAR, the International Group for Historic Aircraft Recovery, and we've been back there 4 more times with them, including this time. On our first trip to the Phoenix Islands, we did a little bit of diving and we discovered a pristine and healthy marine ecosystem. As a result, we organized 2 return expeditions to document the healthy reefs and have since been back 3 more times to continue the scientific work. Because of these expeditions, the Phoenix Islands are now internationally protected as part of the largest marine World Heritage Site. The 2015 expedition to Nikumaroro Island in the Phoenix Group was in support of TIGHAR and was intended to put eyes on an anomaly that they identified using side-scan sonar 3 years ago. The anomaly, exactly the same size and shape as the fuselage of Amelia Earhart's Lockheed Electra, lies on a reef ledge over 200 meters below the surface. My first job was to moor Naya directly over the anomaly, something the crew and I managed using 2 very long and buoyant mooring lines, one tied to the prop shaft of the Norwich City wreck, and another secured to an anchor that we carefully set with a lift bag well north along the reef. With these 2 long lines, we could move the boat fore and aft and right and left, positioning ourselves exactly over the anomaly. Nikumaroro is a difficult little island. There is no passage into the lagoon, and therefore no really safe anchorage for the ship, and the small landing channel can be very dangerous. That's why no one lives here. TIGHAR brought a crew of 16 people to Niku, divided into 3 teams, a shore team, a dive team, and an ROV team. I was the supernumerary and assisted wherever they needed me. The shore team really had their work cut out for them. Conditions ashore were windless, sunny, and hot, and extremely unforgiving. Some of the shore team had been to Niku 4 or 5 times, so they totally understood what they'd signed up for. But you could tell when they finally returned to the ship at the end of a long day that the island had really taken its toll on them. Still, at 7 the next morning, there they were, fully dressed in long pants and long sleeves, covered in sunscreen, burdened with machetes, cameras, metal detectors, and GPSs, and many liters of water, ready to go do it again. The small landing channel, blasted out of the reef in 1962 to aid in the evacuation of the remaining settlers on the island, is difficult at the best of times and downright dangerous much of the rest of the time. Often there are waves breaking across it, and always it requires very attentive skiff driving. On this expedition, there were 2 days where the giant south swell made braving the channel far too dangerous to attempt without a very good reason, like we had in 1997, when we had to rescue people who had been stranded ashore for 4 days. On this expedition, the shore team was concentrating on the northern tip of the island, where Amelia Earhart and Fred Noonan may have made their first camp after crash landing the Electra on the reef flat. Meanwhile, the dive team was searching the Mirror location, just off the same section of reef from the shallows down to 140 feet. We were looking for airplane bits, but despite some discoveries that proved to be something else, we didn't find any. Although the very thorough search confirmed what we suspected, that the shallow reef is too steep and dynamic to hold relatively lightweight aircraft parts, we did rediscover a robust and healthy marine ecosystem. At the end of 2002, the Phoenix Islands were slammed by the worst coral bleaching episode ever recorded. The islands have been very slow to recover because their isolation means that coral and fish recruitment from healthy reefs elsewhere happens very slowly. This was my 4th visit to the Phoenix Islands since the coral bleaching, and, happily, Each time I've seen a significant increase in the health of the coral and the number of fish. The most critical team on this expedition was the ROV team, and, unfortunately, they faced serious difficulties from almost the very beginning. An ROV is a complex and expensive little piece of kit, and probably the team should have brought 2 of them, because the one they did bring broke down just about every way it could. In the end, the only dive it did was a checkout dive to calibrate the navigation system. As the days went by and it became apparent that the ROV may not ever work, we started thinking laterally. Walt put down a prototype open ROV to about twice its rated depth and captured some useful footage before it imploded. For what became known as the Rob OV, I lowered my good old video housing on a long line, stabilized with a drogue made out of a Fiji water bottle, Lee's idea, and it actually captured some pretty good images, but no airplane parts. When we left Niku, sailing out into a calm and peaceful ocean, with Jupiter and Saturn almost in conjunction, all of us were conflicted. On the one hand, we had spent nearly 2 weeks in one of the most isolated places left, and we had suffered hardly any injuries, and managed to recover nearly all our stuff. On the other hand, we had totally failed to accomplish what we came for. I've seen the side-scan sonar images, and I've read the accompanying reports. I'm convinced that there is something very like an airplane fuselage lying at over 200 meters at Niku. But we still don't know what it is, and we may never know. So, despite our best efforts once again, the mystery of Amelia Earhart lives on.